Min, what has been announced so far from Beijing?
Well, as you said, that antitrust investigation into Google, as well as a series of tariffs, 10 to 15% on American agricultural machines, as well as oil, coal, LNG. A couple of American companies added to this unreliable entity list, and also export control on tungsten-related materials, materials used for solar panels, semiconductors. Very precise, very targeted measures, although not extensive, but it shows that China is not going to back down without a fight. Now, some analysts had expected that maybe China will not retaliate so quickly, and clearly this is a very highly choreographed move, given that China had waited exactly until after the tariff kicked in at 1:01 p.m. local Beijing time before announcing these series of coordinated measures. And this comes as Trump had said he plans to speak with President Xi within 24 hours. That was several hours ago. And he said that if no deal is reached, that the tariffs could be, quote, very, very substantial. So 10% is just the starting point. It could go up or go down from there, depending on how negotiations go.
Yeah, China and Beijing clearly had a ready-to-bake response, didn't they? Quick, swift and targeted, as you say. Oven-ready response from Beijing. Where do we stand then on those talks between China and the US?
Well, there's really an infinite number of ways that negotiations could go. And one thing that China could do is maybe to return to that starting point of the first trade deal that was struck with President Trump in his first term in office, committing to buy maybe a certain number of, a certain amount of American products in exchange for other things that they want. For instance, more market access into the U.S., or perhaps being able to buy what they want to buy, including advanced semiconductors, for example. President Trump had said that the reason for imposing these tariffs include fentanyl, China producing the ingredients for that. And this is perhaps an off-ramp that could be offered to China, because that is a low-hanging fruit, is something that Beijing could very easily clamp down on if it so chooses to. This is also something that both countries have already began working on. So that's one possible thing. But again, you know, many of these measures, they're not that easy to undo. Once you're on an entity list, it's not that easy to get off it. So it remains to be seen how those negotiations will go. And, you know, it's a really a trade war that could escalate further, and we'll have to see what happens in the next few days.